Good morning. Today is April the 2nd. It is Saturday. It's probably around 11:50 or so, and it's in the high 40s, moving towards 50 today. Nice day. Kind of windy, but okay, we're back and starting out at this pond today. We're going to try to get basically over on that side if the stream allows for some jump. We might have to go down a ways to do this. And I said it was a nice day. When the wind actually hits you, it's kind of chilly. So, live and learn. Not freezing, but the wind is a little chilly. So, a little bit of a downside to the day, but nothing to kill us with. So, today, I guess we'll start out with future plans. I am probably, unless crazy weather happens to the north, try to head up towards the Vermont area for the first time this year next week. And then allegedly if I remember reading correctly, the logging operation to the north of here is going to be winding down, making the area as a whole more accessible, although if there was any activity to be had, I think the logging probably was detrimental to it. So, nice little indication of some of the wind damage you get in here. Wind right now. I'm not going to put the drone in the air today because the wind is, the gusts are, I mean, it's not like steady wind either, it's gusts, so that's all the more likelihood of having your drone go for a free flight into Massachusetts from here. The wind is steadily 20 miles an hour plus, and as a result, a little gusty for the risk. So today, it pertains kind of sort of to Bigfoot, but the subject of philosophical discussion today, there's a forum out there. I'm not going to mention its name just because, but it, like Facebook, has been kind of overrun by the woo crowd. And on a forum where you have admins as opposed to Facebook, you have to be a little bit more diplomatic in rebuffing the interesting ideas some of these people have. But the fun one, and this is something that I've heard come out of Steve Isdall's mouth, probably Dave Pallades too, is that science is the enemy. Science is a cabal, if you will. That's taken from a quote from a subpar genius that I was getting into it with on this forum this morning. And science is a cabal. It's a religion. It's an ideology. No, it isn't. It's a method. And the reason why it is not a constant is because it's based on knowledge, and we are at a point in development as a people where our knowledge learns new things every day. And as a result, science is an evolving method. I'm going to throw out a completely non-Bigfoot related science in the form of psychology, because psychology is one where, amusingly, I would say probably 90% plus of the founding principles of psychology have been refuted by newer theories. This is the poster child for this idea that you get new. Somebody comes up with a new understanding, and suddenly all these things that people go through in their heads does not pertain to either sex or hatred of your parents. Not that that's not completely devoid of the equation, but there might just be a little bit more to it. We might just be, in our complexity, a little bit more than that kind of a thing. So, yeah, science is a cabal. Now, I could delve in. I don't want to delve into politics when I do this, because that's not the purpose of the. It's not the purpose of what I do out here. Especially since I have a fairly low opinion of both political parties anyway. The one political comment I will make that I am not really fond of is you can't really make a point against one side without the other side, without that side jumping to and pointing to you that you're a card-carrying member of the other side. Like, no, you both suck. I hate to tell you this, but both sides suck. One side can suck, and I can actually find fault in your side. All the while, the other side sucks. They just don't happen to be getting my notice at this point in time. That is not the same thing as being on their side. And that's why I don't like politics, because the people that are overly involved in it can't see it past a lot of the time taking sides, and that is a measure of their intellect and or the lack thereof. There, I said it. So, back to science as a cabal. This spills into all kinds of charming little issues like, I mean, the obvious elephant in the room is global warming. There are others. I could go into the space program, and I'm going to use that one because we have the Big Bang Theory, we have a bunch of other theories, we have the multiverse theory. All this really goes to show as a constant is that we are basically in our infancy of understanding how shit in the universe works. Every time we think we know something about that, we find something that falls in the face of it. And that just goes to show that we should not make those assumptions, per se. I guess I'm drifting back towards aliens. Get over it. It's an interesting subject. So, do I believe that all aliens are these gray bubble-headed dudes? Because the internet tells me that? No, that's very simplistic. But do I think there's life in the universe? Absolutely. There's too big a place and too much stuff in it for that really, just for us to be it. That's kind of depressing if you think about it. And if you factor in other models of life, I think we touched on this last week, non-carbon-based life, liquid-based life, energy and gaseous-based life. You get into a whole spectrum of shit. Intelligent moving plants, for that matter. Whatever weird shit that we could have a sci-fi program throw at us. Once you get into life like that, if you have possibilities like that out there, shit, there's got to be life out there. As the same thing as, yes, there are UFOs. There's shit flying around in the sky. We don't know what it is, and it's some kind of object. Hence, UFO. Beyond that, you get into all these new agey idiots that are talking about how the aliens are here to save us from ourselves, blah, but prove it. In a nutshell, prove it, if you could. To all these charming little woo enthusiasts, throw something out there based on actual fact and not belief and back it up. And maybe I'll give you some credibility. But as it is now, my science-y cabal friends and I are going to have to basically stick to laughing at you and pointing a finger, because really, you're making shit up. The guy who, I'm not going to say attacked my channel, but came into the comments to, in my opinion, I think he was trying to stir up attention. I'm not going to give it to him. But he's a proponent of these wooish kinds of principles. And I saw I went over to his channel. I checked it out of curiosity. I'll give a quick critique and then leave it at that. The guy was all stick structures with a smattering of aliens. So, okay, I'm not going to get into a debate with you over this because I have other things to do. You can be offended by that if you want, but I'm sorry, I have other things to do with my time than that, and c'est la vie. Anyway, at least when I make a conjecture, I'll freely admit, yes, it's conjecture. This is my opinion. If I'm wrong, I'll adjust my opinion accordingly. But I guess that's about as far as that's going to. I could offer up other things, sciencey wise too, but I'm just kind of scanning what I have on the top of my head. I think basically that's it. Science is a method, guys. It's not some Kabbalic religion that's telling us that the world's going to die because of global warming. The fact that you have Rhode Island-sized pieces of Antarctica breaking off more often than ever should be some indication to that. If you don't want to see that the world is changing to our detriment, largely because of our own excesses, well then, you know, you're really part of the problem. The world and the humans will have suffered for your ignorance, which is what we're talking about. If you espouse these kinds of things, the sciencey cabals or that, or you listen to Q too much, you are basically leading the forces of ignorance. You heard me. I'm probably going to get flack for this too. I'm just going to follow up on something that I said on Facebook the other day. Not every cross pair of sticks is an X structure. There's this thing called gravity. Like it or not. Anyway, let's move on to other territory. So planning for next week, we are going to, if at all possible, head north, get back into that area. The first weekend I'm going to basically do a general sweep. This is what I kind of do every year when I get up there, just get the lay of the land since the winter. Conditions permitting, because there may still be ice pack up there. There will be mud season otherwise, so conditions will probably not be ideal, but knowing that before you go, you can prepare for that. After that, depending on what I find, I keep saying the second week in May, but that's, again, depending on the weather, and because it is going to be basically a roving, kind of like a backpacking trip if it works the way I want it to, we are going to have to factor in what I can carry realistically too. There's no purpose served if I freeze my ass off, because I can't bring a warm blanket or something on with the hammock I'm going to bring, but we'll factor that in. May up there is not May down here. It's going to be probably cold at night, and so you have to plan on conditions up there versus down here. All right, I'm looking for a jumpable spot to get over there, which I may take a segment break if I have to figure that out. We had fairly decent rain last night, so I don't know how high that's going to make things over here. I found a jumpable spot, so if I have to work further down and go back and backtrack, that's okay. So I'll also be applying some learned lessons if I go up there and get in there in May. If not, we can push it back a couple of weeks till it gets a little warmer. That's okay. The date itself is not etched in stone. It's the purpose of the exercise, where we're going to do a wide swath of covered territory that is to the west of the Five Bogs and the Tri-Bog area up there, and we will. And for the record, when I refer to the Tri-Bog, there's a Tri-Bog area down here and there's a Tri-Bog area up there. They're not the same thing. It looks like I can jump right here. Let's have a look. This big lovely rock down here is extending itself out to help me do that, so we will jump. We will cross here. And that was hard. We're across, so we're going to head over that way now. I think we are parallel to a hunter's, I think the term is kill box, where the deer hunters set up camp a while back and are probably, I'm going to be a little noisy going through here because, like I said, I think there's a hunter in here somewhere, and I'm wondering if that's where he is situated right now. I'm going to take a segment break and cover some ground, but be prepared to encounter a hunter if he's in the woodwork here. So we're going to be back in a little bit. We're back. We were over there, so we crossed the stream. We're in this area now. First time in this particular stretch of woods, but I know where it connects to. The beaver pond, for reference, is over there. The stream's running there, so we're not lost. We're just kind of like paralleling the other side of the stream right now. And walking through here, we were following along the tracks of a smallish moose, judging by the track size, not a full-size one. Interestingly enough, in some of the Facebook groups local to the area, there is a pregnant moose cow in the area who apparently is fairly used to people. So running into her might be cool because you could probably spend some space in her general proximity, and she seems fairly mellow about it. There's a guy the other day that was within 20 feet of her, and she was walking along, grazing along a stream, and really didn't seem too bothered by him. That'd be kind of cool. Anywho, if I'm right, there is a meadow the other side of this hill going through this debris stuff, and you can kind of take a look around over there, see where that takes us otherwise. Still chuckling about the whole science cabal thing. That is just like such a delightfully anti-intellectual idea. It's hilarious. If you disagree with the assertion and you want to try to defend it in the comments, knock yourself out. I'll be as polite as you let me in my rejoinder, but that being forewarned, it is something in the community that has too strong a foothold, in my humble opinion, which I say sarcastically because we both know it's not the most humble of opinions. And I'll not apologize for it. The reason why people don't take the subject more seriously in the mainstream is because you have the Matt Johnsons of the world preying on cancer victims, and you have the anti-intellectual, exploitative voices of the Isdals and the Polites out there. If you disagree, that is your option. But, you know, I am an independent voice in this thing, and I'm not here to make friends or be popular. I'm here to find evidence and conduct field work, which is basically what I do between the segment breaks. But which, to answer your question, yes, there's more to what I do out here than just yapping in the woods in front of a camera as I wander around in here. It's kind of a cool looking tree, don't you think? Oops. Give it the up and down there. And back. But, you know, Steve Isdal, like friggin' science. Yep. Science. All those lovely space-age fabrics that you're wearing to keep your ass warm out in that mountain wilderness. You want to know what made that shit? Science. So, yeah. Oh, wait. You've been accused of, like, being in front of a blue screen and throwing up a pretty little Windows freaking wallpaper. That wouldn't shock me one bit. Seems about his speed. As he reads off the emails of people singing his praise. That's lovely. Once we get up north, we're going to try to move away from this criticizing the community trend I seem to be in. Get back into looking around at things. The other thing I'm going to say about this forum when it's on my mind is what's interesting to me is they seem to be running low on Bigfoot related material because all of a sudden there's a big influx of UFO material. So they went all hog wild for UFOs. which is an interesting subject in and of its own right if you don't fall in with the new agey types and all that fun, but you know, yep, we're hooking up right where we thought we were. The interesting thing is that the Navy and the government are slowly coming around with what they know, and much to everybody's lack of surprise, they knew a little bit more than they were letting on. It's like, I always ask this question. Here's one for you, and this is more, not so much wooish as it is, in my opinion, a fair question. How come whenever anyone offers up a thought on Area 51 and what it might be, if there's nothing going on there, why does the government always feel a need to come out with some kind of a refuting statement to the effect of there's nothing to see here? But if you come on the land, we're entitled to kill you. Well, if you're flying the experimental aircraft there, that's enough reason to keep it secret. But, you know, if there ain't no aliens there, then it's okay to say so. But it's like you feel a need to do it all the time. Anytime there's a mention, when that person had the joke on Facebook a while back and, you know, storm Area 51 and all that, they came out. If you come onto the property, you can and will be shot. They're like, don't come here. Well, people came, and you know, you had some security there. Nothing really bad happened. People had calmer heads than that, but I don't think anyone was taking it overly seriously either. It was more of a flash mob goof kind of thing. But you know, that's one that I find if I remember right, reading about the report that the government put out, like this is like actually like factual information, not new agey BS. Seem to have gotten into the thicker part of this stuff. They were saying something about there are particular shapes of objects that are like known to be, and that's interesting. The tablet, or like the capsule shaped things are like increasingly known and being seen around military aircraft and stuff. So, you know, is there nothing going on? Bullshit. There is something going on because the government always has to comment on it. You know, there's nothing to be seen here. Bullshit. But they're also slowly coming around to the fact you can only cover up so much shit in the information age. And here's the thing, and I say this to the government, and here's a little factoid for you. I have worked for the federal government, so I've been within the federal system and how they do things. They're not smart enough to maintain a cover-up that long. If somebody actually did get access to some juicy information relating to aliens and the like, the government, once it's out on the internet, would be basically, you can put out other misinformation, but that's really all they could do. They would otherwise be screwed. Because once the information is out there and viral, it's out there and viral, and you're never going to track down every last version of it. An interestingly, seemingly completely unrelated piece of information relating to this. And the reason I came over here today, as I just kind of jump in between conversational topics here, is last year in early, well, I guess that'd be 2 years ago, technically, I was possibly followed by something upright in this stretch right in back here. So kind of just popping through and allowing for the opportunity for if something is in the neighborhood. They're far enough back into the woodwork where people other than like the occasional hunter would come in here. But in this particular stretch, I'm looking around right now and I don't see the telltale hunter tape that I see. There is a kill box back that way, but and if you don't know what a kill box is, I'm thinking it's basically like they set up a corral thing where they'll take a bunch of sticks like that, but they'll kind of form a square kind of thing around that they either use for cover or they gum up a deer as they're pursuing it or something to make the kill. I say that as an informational thing. I don't really care if you're pro or anti-hunting. That's conversation for philosophical people that don't do what I do. So, move on. But interesting thing in this area is that the area that's being logged, I could walk into from the back end through here. It's an extended walk, but I mean, you could do it because the area in here is that large. But getting back to my point about them trying to control the Area 51 and related UFO stuff. Years ago, people put out plans for a 3D printed gun. And the anti-gun crowd went apeshit because all of a sudden you don't need to have a trackable situation where you're licensed or background checked for a gun, because you can basically make your own. And they put the plans out on the interwebs. And there was an effort made to shut that down and get the plans off the interwebs. I'd bet you $20 right now that if you were to search long and hard enough, if only on the dark web, you could still find those plans. They're still out there. Somebody somewhere saved a copy and put them on a flash drive or hid them on an offline source where they don't have to share with the world and wait for things to die down. The interesting thing is the early version of the gun was made out of plastic, so basically if you were to shoot this thing more than 3 times, you're probably likely to have the thing blow up in your hand and do yourself more damage than anyone else. The anti-gun crowd, and I'm not pro-gun or anti-gun, I'm saying this observationally. The anti-gun crowd kind of like overlooked that whole thing. And like, if you do this, you're doing it at extreme risk to your own safety. I'm just going to tell you that. But, and they would shame me and try to cancel me if I'm saying that because I'm not helping their cause, but again, trying to jump outside the realm of politics and not totally succeeding, the fact of the matter remains, both sides of the political spectrum will use misinformation to try to make their point seem more legitimate than it is. Verify your own facts, and then just remember that science is not in fact a cabal. It actually is a method. That evolves as its ideas are proven, misproven, or proven to be kind of, sort of, but not really. So basically what I'm saying is that science is not an exact science. It is an evolving method, constantly evolving, and for the idiots that want to believe it's a method, that it's a cabal, good luck living in your paranoid little world. That's all I got to say to you. I really don't care if that offends you, because if you're that ignorant, if you're that ignorant, you're probably pretty easily offended, and I'm going to probably eventually offend you somehow anyway. But c'est la guerre. I'm wondering if I can jump over there. There's like this intertwining stream thing here, if I can get over up to that hill over there. That's why I'm kind of stopping and looking around, engaging this little patchwork of dry land, or a set of pseudo-dry land. In the summer, this would probably be a nightmare, but right now, because the ground is still kind of cold and hard, you can probably get away with this. If not, we're on the back side of the park, and I think what I'm going to do, this is a good time for a segment break, so I can kind of figure my way through this. And we shall be back in a bit. And we're back. We're on the top of the hill facing the pond. Made our way through the patchwork of streamage. We're about to head back. The pond over here is surrounded by thick laurel, and I am going to wait for a less windy day. We're going to get the drone over it and be lazy for today. I walked around the hill up here, and it's a pond probably a little smaller than this one. Less water in it because you have more tall grass in the lake, but in the meantime, We're going to make our way down through this and make our way back gradually as we go over the hill and back across, unless there's a stream crossable spot here, which would save me a little time, but if not, not a big deal. The day is young and we are actually enjoying a peaceful day out in the woods, if nothing else. And shall continue a leisurely pace back through the woods, trying to find the least hilly and underbrush and infested way, but anyway, we're going to do this. This is going to be a short segment because I, of course, have to jump back through this. And in the course of that, I am possibly going to wrap up here, only because it is a quiet day out. And I've hit the points I wanted to hit today, and I kind of need both hands to do a little bit of balancing through this. And we'll get back over there and make our way back. So at this point, I will give the generic YouTuber thing of like and subscribe as you see fit. Thank you for watching. I'm going to get to the other side of the hill, and then I'll start yapping again if there's anything interesting going on over there. Otherwise, we'll be back in a bit, or maybe we won't.